This is episode 47 of Family Life Mornings. We're a morning radio show on Family Life, a network of stations across New York and Pennsylvania. Our podcast, some of the more unique moments from the week before.
I'd sit still for that. You can do my nails if I just get the peanut butter.
That's so gross. What is Steve talking about? Let's find out.
A little serious, a little silly, a perfect balance to start your day. Family Life Mornings.
So much creativity going on during these days of how to help out people, which is great. Also help out businesses, because a lot of businesses are closed, or in the case of food places, it's carry out only. And there's a donut shop in Ohio where there's a guy been a regular there for over 40 years. He goes there pretty much every day, and he was trying to think, what can I do to help out this donut shop and have them stay in business? Right. So he goes in and buys a donut. One donut. Well, how's that going to help? How's one donut going to help a donut shop stay in business? Oh, I didn't tell you how much he paid for it. He laid down $1,000 for one donut, so the donut shop can stay in business. That's a lot of dough.
If you can't say it in front of your kids, you won't hear it on Family Life Mornings.
Well, there's been a lot of talk recently about manned space flights happening again. In fact, really in the past couple of years, talk about people, moving to the moon.
Like Steve?
I don't know.
There's been a lot of suggestions and requests about that, but I'm still
I don't
considering.
know if that's ever going to happen or not, but it does beg the question, and the reason I throw this out is because a study just came out. Are human beings going to suffer any long-term effects from being in space? And what they have just discovered is that, yes, indeed, there is one effect that has happened with our astronauts, and it appears to be permanent. Their brains have gotten bigger.
Oh, send Steve.
Is there
Their
room for
brains
growth?
are actually bigger.
Wow.
Because they've been in space. And you know what it made me think?
Yeah.
I'll date myself here, but I loved the Flintstones growing up. Remember the Great Gazoo? He had this really big head. And I thought, wow, they got it right.
Wow. The Flintstones. Bigger brain. I'll consider it.
Are you just starting your day? Well, so are we. It's Steve, Terese, and Randy on Family Life Mornings.
So bacon made out of carrots.
Yes.
It's funny because one of my daughters is a vegetarian, and so we found some vegan bacon, just at the grocery store in the freezer because she was really craving a BLT. So we had BLTs one night, and she had it with her fakin is what I call it, the fake bacon, And she took a bite and she said, Mom, this is so good. Like, you have to try this. It tastes just like bacon. And so I took a bite and she was like, doesn't it taste just like bacon? I said, yes, if you haven't had bacon in like 4 years. It tastes just like bacon, Randy.
Well, you make a BLT. I love the bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwich, but I have this problem. Maybe you do too. I take the first bite and half of the stuff on the inside falls out. The bacon comes out, a tomato or two falls out. Well, if we had put this sandwich together the proper way, that would not happen. And this doesn't just work for BLTs. It works for several sandwiches. The way to keep the contents of your sandwich from falling out is to wrap a piece of lettuce around one side of the sandwich. It's in between the bread, but the lettuce is on the top and the bottom curled around. And then you make that the back part of the sandwich. When you start eating, nothing falls out because the lettuce holds it in place. And I thought, this is brilliant. I've got to try
what else you could try? You could try cutting up the lettuce and putting it like in a bowl, and then you cut up the tomatoes and put them in a bowl, and then you can cut up the bacon and put it on top, and then you take the bread and you cube it and you put that on top.
I have an idea. I know what to call it. Try, let's go salad. Salad would be good.
Steve, Terese, and Randy. Because you can never have enough friends. We're Family Life, a friend you can turn to.
When it comes to gourmet breads, the country of France seems to be the best at making it. And it's no surprise. I've been to France, and their bread is awesome. Well, there's a bakery that's right over the border in France from Germany. and they closed the border down. A lot of people in Germany used to go to this bakery in France to get their bread every morning because it was right there. And so now all of a sudden they can't. The border's closed. What am I going to do? I can't get my baguette. I can't get my croissant. Well, the lady who runs the bakery understood and understands that many Germans were coming over the border to get bread from her. So she put out an ad and said, if you call ahead, I will get your order ready and I will come and meet you at the border.
Right.
And one gentleman came with his fishing pole because he wanted to make sure he didn't cross the border. So she hooked his order onto his bag and he reeled it in. And ironically enough, a lot of other Germans seem to be hooked on the idea of doing the same thing. So they're getting their bread now right at the border. Not going over, but getting it anyhow.
Steve, Terese, and Randy. Friends you can turn to on Family Life Mornings.
The dog needs grooming. I don't have to tell you that, right? Like a lot of people are like, I didn't know that my dog was so shaggy. That's what happens after so many weeks of not being able to groom. And some of the stuff you can get away with, not doing, like the cutting of the hair and things. But the nails, sometimes your dog just really needs their nails trimmed. I don't know about your dog. My dog hates standing still for me to trim the nails. So here's what you have to start your own grooming station. Some saran wrap and peanut butter.
Well, that's a good start.
I know you hate saran wrap, Steve.
Yes, called Satan wrap.
At your house, right. But in this case, it could just save you. Now, the peanut butter you like, all right?
Okay.
There's this viral video online of a woman who takes the plastic wrap and she wraps it around her forehead. It's like around her head a couple times. Obviously, you don't want to cover your nose or your mouth or anything. It's just your forehead and up to kind of cover your hair. And then she takes a big spoonful of peanut butter and she smears it all across her forehead and like up into where now you see why you want to have the plastic wrap on your head, right? I mean, I guess you could do this without the plastic wrap, but okay. So then when she bends down to grab the dog's paw to clip the nails, the dog is so busy licking the peanut butter that they don't realize they're getting their nails clipped.
Wow.
It's so genius, right? Again, if you don't have the saran wrap, it is still possible to do this, but in that case, you better have really good shampoo.
Yeah, it's true.
Really?
I'd sit still for that. You can do my nails if I just get the peanut butter.
That's so gross.
They don't need a request to be your friend. They already are. Steve, Terese, and Randy on Family Life. A friend you can turn to.
People are getting dressed up, like really getting dressed up, like fancy dresses and suits. And some people are wearing costumes, like superhero costumes. They're getting dressed up because they're going out.
Oh, where?
You're not supposed to go out.
Yeah,
Where are you going? Hey, get back here. Nobody goes out. But they're going out. They're going out and they're taking pictures in these fancy outfits and posting them online. They're going out to take out the trash.
Huh.
People are getting dressed up to take out the trash, which is pretty funny when you think about it. I mean, what do you think if you're driving down the street and you see a neighbor taking out their trash in like an evening gown? You're like, that's unusual. But, taking out the trash could be the most exciting thing that happens all week. Really?
We don't get out much.
No, really, we don't get out much.
It's okay if you're not ready to wake up yet. We'll just turn the music down and talk softer.
Steve, Terese, and Randy on Family Life Mornings.
Well, a lot of people are doing some decorating, when you're spending so much time inside, you might look around and say, you know what, we need a little more green. A lot more people are adding a touch of green. And the way they're doing it is buying plants online. You just go to websites and pick out what kind of plant you want. And it's true, plants soothe us, and now that you're home so much, you might have time to take care of them. But guessing that a plant ordered online, I'm not so sure about that. Well, wait a second. If a plant can survive a trip on a cargo plane, getting thrown on a truck, and being tossed on my front step in a cardboard box, well, there's a pretty good chance that I may not kill it, right? I mean, if it survives all that, right?
You'll always wake up on the right side of the bed when you start your day with Steve, Terese, and Randy on Family Life. A friend you can turn to.
This isn't the first time that schools have been closed for weeks at a time. And wow, now it's like we've got all this online learning and these Zoom meetings and online blackboards and things like that. When it happened back in the 30s, this was in Chicago when there was a polio outbreak. Kids had to stay home and they couldn't learn online because, in the 30s?
Right. No, a lot.
We didn't have the internet, right? So instead, the kids learned on the radio.
Well,
like they would gather around. So in honor of that.
Well, don't they really do the same thing nowadays?
Professor Steve.
Well,
is going to teach you about
life really in general.
I was going to say the question is, what is it they're learning?
Well, the thing is, spelling doesn't count.
Right.
Accuracy doesn't really come into play when I'm teaching. So hey, you're on your own, kids. That's today's
Aren't you
lesson.
glad for the internet?
A fun way to start the day and nothing to embarrass you in front of the kids. Family Life Mornings.
It is a holiday that I feel like we all need to know about, but I've done some digging online and I can't find anything about it other than just the name of the holiday.
Can't be any bigger than Arbor Day this Friday, can it?
Well, I know we have that coming up. Tomorrow is Earth Day, but today is Tuna Rights Day.
Tuna rights?
Tuna rights, rights for tuna. Which I've never seen tunas like at a protest or anything like that. Like how do they carry the little signs with their fins?
That's hard. That's difficult.
But this is an official holiday. So
see what you did there, Randy? Official.
We don't want to be coy about it in any way, shape, or form. But I do believe that with this whole COVID outbreak, we really need to scale back our demonstrations for tuna rights.
You've been waiting for this day all year, haven't you? The official Tuna Rights Day. Yes. Wow, that is fabulous. But, that always reminds me of the difference between a violin and a tuna.
Oh, okay. What is the difference between a violin and a tuna?
This is a good dad joke. You can use this at home today, kids. Use this on your dad.
Right, okay.
You can tune a violin, but you can't tune a fish. That one never gets old.
Right.
Oh, it just did. Did.
A new day, a new start, a God who never changes. You're waking up with Family Life Mornings.
You just heard me talk about my walks. And on Friday, I was on my walk. And remember I say I waved to people and I kind of,
Yeah.
Well, there was one person that drove right by me, almost right in front of me, and they didn't wave at all. And that person looked a lot like Randy, and it was. Randy did not see me as I was walking, but I had a hoodie on and different things, so I could understand, and he was focused on driving, which is good.
Right.
But my mind, you want to lurk inside my mind for a second? My mind said, okay, what can I do? Since Randy did not see me, what can I do? So that was on a Friday.
Right.
So you guys will remember Monday morning, you came in and on the screen, socially distanced. And I picked up my phone and I went, oh, Randy, by the way. Of course, Randy doesn't know that I saw him. I said, I have this new app that I'm checking out. It's worked pretty well. Were you, and I'm looking at my phone, staring at really nothing, but I'm like, were you near, and I gave a location, at about, and I gave a time. And he had to think a little bit because, who knows where you were a few days ago. And finally he said, yeah, I was. And I'm like, okay, good. Well, it does work. And I put it down, and then we went on the radio. And that was all I said.
Right. Meanwhile, you thought you were going to be playing a joke on Randy.
Right. But you were listening
but
too.
Instead, my insides are, I'm like, he has an app where you can track people and you don't have to be connected to them. Like I can track my family because, we put in our information. Right. But is my security being compromised? Is Steve going to know where I am all the time? And do I want that? I'm feeling deeply violated. So my husband, who's also working at home, while we had a song playing, I said to him, can you believe Steve has this app? I have to figure out what this app is. And my husband, Scott, he says, babe, Steve's messing with you. He saw Randy. I said, no, he has an app because he was looking at his phone and I know he has an app and I'm so bothered. I'm so bothered by this.
Yeah.
You didn't have an app.
No,
there is no app.
So finally I did tell Randy that I saw him and that kind of thing. So sorry, Randy didn't seem too concerned.
Leading up to it, I thought, wow, that's kind of cool.
But there's a great lesson,
that was it.
But there's a great lesson. God knows where you are all the time. It shouldn't matter that people know where you are at whatever time. God knows, and that's the important thing.
I'm okay with God knowing, but I don't need you to know where I am all the time, okay?
Family Life Mornings with Steve, Terese, and Randy. Thanks for making us part of your day. We're a friend you can turn to.
Who would think that dad jokes would be a thing right now.
Everybody would, wouldn't they?
Right. Well, we do know that humor is actually really good for your immune system. So if you're worried about getting sick, a little humor is good. And, well, it helps to relieve some of the stress and the pressure. But dad jokes, really?
Yes, really. Come on.
There's a dad. He's stuck at home. He thinks he has a sense of humor.
Hey.
So every day he writes a dad joke on his sign, and he sticks it out in his yard.
Nice.
Someone started posting all of his jokes on Reddit.
Love this guy.
They're really great jokes.
Yeah?
People actually love it. They keep clicking up on Reddit. So he's trending. Like this one, singing in the shower is great until you get shampoo in your mouth.
Oh.
Then
What happened?
it's a soap opera.
Oh, I like that.
That's good.
That's a win right there.
You can either roll over and go back to sleep, or you can get going right now with Steve, Terese, and Randy. This is Family Life, a friend you can turn to.